All right, so we are going to talk about how to correct all of your mistakes from that test so that you can do better on this retake. So remember, we set up our page. Here's the typing tip that might have screwed some of you up. Remember, you have to do the symbol, then the equal to, so don't forget that as we're going into your retake. Let's talk about question number 1. So on question number 1, we are given this inequality, and we need to solve it for x. So I'm going to start by rewriting it over here. 7 minus 6x is less than 2x plus 87. All right, I'll begin by getting all the x's to the same side. So I'm actually going to add 6x here. Add 6x. These are gone. And when I do that, I have 7 is still less than, and then 2x plus 6x is 8x plus 87. The next thing I want to do is subtract 87 from both sides. Over here, that is 7 minus 87 would give me negative 80 is less than 8x. The very last thing that I can do is divide by 8. Divide by 8. Negative 80 divided by 8 is negative 10 is less than x. Now, this is not the final way that I would want to graph my answer. I would want to reverse these. I would want to put x on the left, negative 10 on the right. But remember, when you flip that around, you also have to make sure that it's still opening up toward x. So instead of a less than symbol, it's going to be a greater than symbol here. And this is what I would type in as my answer over here. So I'd say x is greater than negative 10. Now, when I go to graph that, it looks something like this. Let me get my graph over here. And this would be what I would type in for number, or what I would take a picture of and upload for question number 2. I would have negative 10. Lower than that would be negative 11, and higher than that would be negative 9. Then I would put an open circle at negative 10 because that does not have an equal to underneath it. And then it says x is greater than negative 10. I would need a shade above the negative 10, which means to the right toward that negative 9. This would be your solution for question number 2. Remember, I don't give you those answers just yet because or I should say, when you go to submit that, you will see it marked wrong initially, but you have to wait till I grade it to see if you got it correct, because obviously I have to look at your picture and award you points based on what you submitted. Okay, let's look at number 3. Question number 3. The first thing that I'm doing here is I'm going to write down my equation, my inequality. Negative 2 times 4x minus 3 is greater than or equal to negative 10. All right, let's distribute that 2. When I distribute, I get negative 2 times 4x is negative 8x. Negative 2 times 3 is positive 6, and that's greater than or equal to negative 10. Then I can subtract 6 from both sides of this equation, inequality. This is 0, and I have negative 8x is greater than or equal to negative 16. Last step, divide both sides by negative 8. Now, when you divide both sides by a negative, that is like beep, 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 beep. Don't forget that you need to reverse the symbol. So that symbol, right here, we've got 1, but we've got x, instead of is greater than or equal, we've got less than or equal to positive 2. And when I shade that, I'd have my number line here, positive 2, 3 would be above that, 1 would be below that. And that's an equal symbol, greater than less than or equal, so I fill in that circle because it does actually equal 2. But the less than side would be shading toward, oh boy, that is really bad shading, but you would shade toward the left. All right, that would be questions 3 and 4. Let's look at question number 5. I forgot to write in the answer. That was x is less than or equal to 2, I believe it was. Okay. Let's look at question 5. On question 5, it says solve the following equation. So this is absolute value of x is equal to 5. Remember, we have 2 answers for this. One of them would be a positive 5 and the other a negative 5. Remember, you're talking about their distance from 0. The 2 numbers that have a distance of 5 from 0 would be 5 and negative 5. Question number 6. I need to figure out what this overall absolute value is for being a distance of 6 from 0. So I'm going to start by splitting my equation into 2 separate equations. So remember, this is where you saw in the notes I took this stuff and I said, we're gonna have a positive option and a negative option. So the positive option would be x plus 3.5 equals 6. And the negative option would be saying x plus 3.5 equals negative 6. Now on both of these, I'm going to be subtracting 3.5 and subtracting 3.5. Over here, when we do negative 6 minus 3.5, I get negative 9.5. Over here, if I'm doing 6 minus 3.5, let's type that in. 6 minus 3.5, and I get 2.5. So, sorry, this stuff's all in the way. I can erase that circle so you can see it better. But we have positive 2.5. Okay, so my second answer would be positive 2.5. So let's type in our two answers. We would say 2.5, comma, negative 9.5. All right, let's go to question number 7. On question 7, this one's actually asking you to split it into the two equations and then you solve it. So I have 9 minus 6n equals 27. So my first equation that I would write down would be 9 minus 6n equals 27. My second equation, I'm going to write it over here, 9 minus 6n equals negative 27. So I'm actually going to type those in. 9 minus 6n equals 27, and 9 minus 6n equals negative 27. So always type in the positive, then the negative. I can fix it if you have them backwards, but the computer will mark it wrong because I keyed this one as the positive and this one as the negative. So our final solution, let's start solving this thing. I'm going to start by subtracting 9 from both sides, and I'll solve all of this one first. So I have negative 6n equals 18. Then I can divide by negative 6. I keep wanting to flip the symbol, but it's an equal sign, so we don't flip that to anything. N equals negative 3. Okay, let's look at the next one. We can subtract 9. Negative 27 minus 9 would give us negative 36. So I have negative 6n equals negative 36. And then I can divide both sides by negative 6. So divide by negative 6, divide by negative 6, and I have n equals positive 6. All right, so my two answers here would be negative 3, comma, 6. Those are just the two answers written in order. Okay, let's go to question number 8. On question number 8, I cannot split into the first and second equation until I get rid of that minus 15. So on your paper, I would want to see adding 15 on both sides. You need to eliminate that minus 15 so that you have the absolute value all by itself. So when I do that, I've got absolute value of x minus 8. And then when I add 15 to that negative 10, I get positive 5. So when I split this, my first equation, x minus 8 equals 5. My second equation, x minus 8 equals negative 5. Let's write those down as our two equations. X minus 8 equals 5. X minus 8 equals negative 5. Okay, let me go ahead and start solving those. I can add 8, and then over here, I'm also adding 8. So I get x equals, and when I do 8 plus 5, I get 13. And then 8, I should say negative 5 plus 8 would give me 3. So I have 13 and 3. Number 9 is asking you to upload a photo of your work. So right now, if I submit this all, I should hopefully get 3 wrong because I didn't submit any pictures for those 3. And it should give me a 12 out of 15, which it did, which means that these ones are marked correct. The ones that would be marked incorrect are the ones that I didn't answer. Okay, I would like you to now go on and do the extra practice, and then you can try your retake once you get 80% on that extra practice. Good luck, 8th graders. Let us know if you have any questions.